On this episode of Don't Blame Me, we have Sasha Pieterse as a guest who's sitting right here. We talk about military wives as a callback. We talk about giving blowjobs. And we also talk about a teacher who was wrongly fired. Casper's mattresses are designed by humans for humans. The original Casper mattress combines multiple supportive memory foams for a quality sleep surface with just the right sink and just the right bounce. Get $50 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/blame and using promo code BLAME at checkout. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Don't Blame Me, Season 2. Wow, we have a second season. We've officially been picked up by us. Go us. And we have such an exciting guest. This has been somebody that you guys have wanted forever. And I've been saying I'm going to introduce her like this since we met because nobody can pronounce her last name. So introducing Sasha which I think should just be the new way when everyone can't pronounce it. But it's Sasha
okay with
Pieterse.
that. Yeah,
hello.
thanks. Hi. I love you. I missed you.
If you guys want to see us just gush over each other, we are filming this for the internet, for YouTube. So if you want to check it out there, you can watch us too. And
the World Wide Web.
The World Wide Web. So yeah, guys, this is our first episode back. And I mean, I feel like I'm a little rusty. I was just telling Sasha that I've been giving people unsolicited advice that I usually don't talk to that much. And I've been like, here, let me help you with your life. So I feel like I really need this. And I've been getting a lot of DMs of people who are like, my life is going to shambles. And I'm like, don't worry, I'm here to come back. And I feel like you're going to be very good at this.
I'm really excited.
Because do you want to tell the story about that time where, God, was his Come Slut Natasha? Where TBT to Come Slut Natasha, where you thought that I was telling the story and Sasha was like, oh, no, I've heard this before. You told me this. And then across her face just goes, no, you talked about it on the podcast that you didn't tell me.
So I secretly, or not so secretly, binged Meghan's podcast. And I just started talking about things that I would have only known if I listened to it. So it was one of those.
I'm like looking at her. I'm like, I've never told you that.
It was kind of worse than Instagram stalking someone. Because it was like a very long period of time. So how many podcast episodes are in season one?
That was
a lot.
A decent number.
Yeah, so we would listen to it in the car. I live about an hour away from LA. So literally we would just binge
I love
Meghan's
it,
podcast. And I really loved it. I was very fond of all of the stories.
It made me very happy. And it was also funny because it's as opposed to like somebody who I don't know, like talking to me like I know you, like it made me question everything. I'm like, I mean, I definitely could have told you that, but I'm pretty sure I haven't.
No.
Which is why I loved it. Now you're on it. I love you.
And I was seeing you a lot at that point too. So it was just I couldn't get enough of Meghan. It was like Meghan's voice was constantly in my head.
Oh God, that's annoying.
No, I love it.
Well, I'm so happy you are here.
I'm happy to be
You guys
here.
might wonder how Sasha and I know each other. Actually, at this point, no one probably fucking wonders how we know each other. I think everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
By the time this is out, our movie will be out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we did a movie together called The Honor List is what it's called now. I'm okay with it. We had to have a name change, and I finally stopped calling it Honored, which is cool. It's good. But if you guys want to go download it, we'll have everything listed in the description.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also want you to know when my dad watched the trailer, he was like, loved it when you socked that guy in the face. And I was like, that was not me. That's how much we look alike. My own father watched it and thought it was me.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it was far away.
It was pretty far away. And like, we do look like pretty, like very,
Both
quite
blondes.
similar.
Yeah, I get it. I
was like, really? But I mean, I was flattered.
That turned out good.
It did.
I was very surprised. It looked really real.
It was a good cut in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys have seen the trailer and then you see the movie, you'll understand what they cut around something. Oh my gosh, guys. Yeah, this show, if you're new here, this is an advice podcast where you call in with questions or things that are happening in your life. And we do our best to give advice. And who was that sexy voice you just heard? That was Mel.
Oh, hello.
Oh, Mel.
Hey there.
Hey, you'd be a good phone sex operator voice.
I'd love to do that.
Would you actually?
I would so love to
No
do
way.
that. Yeah.
Oh my God, fucking do it. That's
What
so
are you
fun.
wearing?
I love that. I mean, I would giggle the whole time uncontrollably. I'd be like,
I would not be able to do that.
no, like, how do you say like certain dirty things like with a straight face when you're just like sitting at home in your sweatpants?
I would also, I think, I feel like what would be reciprocate, it would be really stupid too. So you're like, what the fuck? Why would you say that? That's disgusting. Nobody says that. No wonder you're calling in.
Yeah, you just got to think of it as improv. Go with the flow.
True.
It's a good acting exercise.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be, I'm going to go method for a while, guys. Going off the grid, going to be a phone sex operator, going to make me a way better actor. Oh, let's hope so. Okay, close your eyes, Meghan. Think about it. You took your Adderall today? Okay. So if you guys want to call into the podcast, the number is 310-694-0976.
You did it.
I think I'm getting smarter. Fuck college. Who needs it?
Not me.
Some of you people who probably called in, but we definitely didn't. Do you know Sasha graduated high school before me and she's younger than me?
That's a little unfair. I was homeschooled.
Yeah.
I was homeschooled, so that's a little...
Homeschool jungle freak.
Pretty much.
Except not at all.
I'm Katie from Mean Girls. Basically, I'm from South Africa. Anyone didn't know that?
But it's true.
I feel like most people know that now.
Oh my gosh, international callers. If you want to call in, you can send us an audio message. Just record it on your phone and send it to meghanpodcast@gmail.com. Wow. Fucking go me. God, I'm improving season 2. Okay, yeah, I think I'm ready.
Hi, I'm a 17-year-old girl from Dallas, Texas, and so I have always been the tallest of my friends and just those around me in general. And now in high school, I'm 5'10", and I'm just really insecure about my height and the fact that all my friends are like average height, 5 foot to 5'6", and I always just stand out in crowds and look like this giant. And at my school, there's a decent amount of guys that are above 6 foot, but the thing is, they all like the really tiny girls, and so I never get asked out, and that makes me feel super insecure, and just looking different from all my friends is just, that makes me feel insecure too. And so my question is, how do I come to terms with the fact that I'm tall and I'll always be taller than most of the people around me, and how do I let the fact that guys are kind of scared off by my height not impact my self-esteem? How do I come to terms with how tall I am?
Well, good thing you don't want to peak in high school. I feel like that's the first thing. And also, models are gorgeous and they're tall. I feel like a lot of girls have this issue. One of my really good friends when I was growing up was 6 foot, and she struggled with that, especially with dating other guys. And I totally get it, because that must be super intimidating. I feel like just tall girls intimidate other guys in general, which is pretty lame, but whatever. But I think it just, once I think she gets out of high school, it'll be a lot easier.
I mean, I'm not 5'10". If a director or producer is watching this, my IMDb says I'm 5'7". That's totally true. Now leave the podcast. I'm like 5'8", 5.
It was also one of the first things she asked me. So how tall are you?
Because I was trying to
5'6". She's like, oh yeah, I'm not 5'7".
Yeah, I was like literally, because I asked Sasha, like, yeah, I'm 5'6", and I was like, yeah, my IMDb height, I'm really lying. Like, I'm lying a lot compared to this. So I'm like I would say I'm like between 5'8" and 5'9", depending on like how tall I stand up and like how much stretching I've done. But I was I think I was this height. I was 5'7", 5'8" in like 5th grade. So I grew really fast, and I was always taller than all of my friends, especially because all of my friends are like extremely petite. Like one of my best friends to this day, she's like she says she's 4'10" ¾ She's like 4'9". And like most of my friends are like right around 5 feet tall. And so I've had that height difference this whole time. And definitely it sucked in high school and middle school, because the guys really were like, we didn't have anyone who was taller than me except for like maybe 1 or 2 guys. And so my boyfriends that I was dating were right around my same height. I mean, now like Mats he's taller than me, but if I wear heels, I'm taller than him. And it's something that I used to so hate being tall. And now, like, exactly like she's saying, like, you really stick out and you stand out, which when you're like feeling awkward or growing up, you don't want to stand out at all. Right. But once you become an adult, like, you usually do want to stand out. Yeah. And like when I go to meetings now, like, especially as a woman, like I want to feel like I can like command the room and I have some control, and like I will end up wearing heels to meetings. So like I want to be even taller than that. Yeah. And then when it comes to dating, like one of my best friends, Leo, he's been on the podcast before. His girlfriend Maddie is like I'm not gonna say significantly taller than him, but like she's like 5'10", 5'11", and that's who he's attracted to. Like he's always into girls who are taller than him. He's like, I'm dating a model. Like there's something hot about being a confident guy who can be with like a girl who's that tall. So like you're going to end up dating a guy who's super self-assured and is like very confident and will like you because you're tall, not necessarily in spite of you being tall. Like I think it's a very attractive quality.
Yeah, I think that definitely is something that is acquired after high school.
Yeah. And like
and it's something that is empowering, like you said. Like it's a quality that people wish they had.
Because I always wanted to be petite. Like my whole life, I always wanted to be like pocket size, like fit and like be like fun and like some guy can like throw you around or whatever. But like, come on, if your guy, like if you like lift some weights, he can toss you around too. Like just because you're tall doesn't necessarily mean that
you're missing out on those things.
No, yeah, because I think there's there's so many people I know who are shorter who wish they were taller. Like there's benefits to both. And yeah, you kind of just got, you can't chop your legs off. So you kind of just gotta deal with it.
Gotta roll with it.
Yeah, date basketball players.
Right.
They're pretty hot.
Yeah.
They're pretty hot. And also eventually I think you're gonna probably care less about other people's heights.
I always wish I was like at least 2 or 3 inches taller. To be fair, see, I'm marrying someone who's 6'5".
Yeah.
I can wear the tallest heels on the planet.
And I always say that I wish I was shorter. But like there's no
everybody wants what they don't have.
And then there's other times where I'm like, oh, I'm glad I'm tall. But yeah, I can reach things in the top shelf. Which some of my friends can't. Yeah.
Nope. I have to climb up on the counter. I'm 5, almost 1.
5, almost 1. Yeah. Yeah. So there's benefits to each. And I think like exactly like Sasha said, once you get a little bit older, you'll start to care less about your height. And if you start caring, you'll be caring in like a good way that you'll like it. On to the next one.
Hi, Megan. I am 19 in college, and basically I've never had a guy friend like throughout all of my life. I just never clicked with guys. But this year now I'm a sophomore, and I do have a best guy friend, and I'm super happy about that. The thing is, he was dating my friend, one of my best friends. She's my roommate, and the only reason I became friends with him is because after the fact that him and her started talking, we just started to get to know him more. We knew of him, but then like he started hanging out more, and me and him just clicked, and we consider each other best friends. Aside from him dating my friend, this girl. It was known throughout, so these started like last semester, and so this was a known fact that we would text more than him and my friend who were dating because she just was not a texter. They would much rather talk in person, so that was a known fact. But beginning of this semester, beginning of 2018, he moved to another school out of state, and so that kind of like the distance between her and him kind of made things a little more difficult, and they would still try to talk, but again, like me and him would be the ones who would talk more and text more, and like all of our conversations would mostly be about her and just like planning how like what gifts to get her and just like all about her and advice on that. So strictly platonic, but like we still do connect on another level and just like are really comfortable with each other. And I would constantly ask him to ask her and my friends to ask her if she felt weird about us talking. She would always say no. But just recently I found out that they broke up, and I just want to know what your advice is on if me and him should still talk. And I did ask her, like after the fact that I like just found out that they broke up, I did ask her, I was like, we are still like talking, like please tell me if you ever feel uncomfortable or just don't like me and him talking again. She said that she told him that she had said didn't care, but then she made a little joke like, he's my boyfriend, like never again. Which like, but she's just like a joker, and she's really chill. But I just like don't know. And so, your advice, like I was just wondering what your advice would be if I should continue talking to him or what.
It's like, who are you closer to?
That's what I was gonna say. It's kind of like, are you feeling like you shouldn't be friends with him anymore just because you feel bad?
Yeah.
But do you think like what friendship is gonna last longer? Is she just really close to you right now because she's your roommate, like you said, and you went to college with her, or is it because? Because
I mean, I've definitely had friends where I will admit, like I'm like, I've been friends with a lot of couples who've broken up, and I am like very adamant on if I'm closer with one of these people, or if like this breakup was like nasty in any way. If this breakup was nasty and I was closer to the person who did the breaking up with, like, I'm still going to be friends with the person who got dumped. And I'm going to tell my friend who was nasty that they were nasty. Like, that's kind of who I am as a friend. But if I'm friends with a couple and the one I'm closer to gets screwed over, I'm not going to be friends with that person. But also if it's amicable, that's also kind of harder because you don't really know. So ultimately, I think it's like, what friendship, exactly what you're saying, like, what friendship do you foresee lasting? Because I think ultimately it's not, I don't know. I think you have to make the decision for yourself, like asking her if she feels comfortable with it. She's probably not going to tell you if she feels uncomfortable.
I was going to say, it sounds like she is kind of uncomfortable with it, but she doesn't want to necessarily ruin your friendship, which is also, I mean, respectful.
And you have to decide is it valid? Yeah. Like if this is just your roommate and it's not somebody you foresee having like a lifelong friendship with, and you foresee having a lifelong friendship with him, it doesn't really matter that you met him through her if you guys are going to end up being better friends.
Yeah.
So if like that's the friendship that you want to pursue, then I say like definitely go for it, because ultimately if there wasn't any hard feelings in that breakup, then whoever, they were going to grow apart naturally, and you were probably going to end up growing apart with whatever person you're not as close with. But yeah,
I would say the only thing is to just be respectful about it, as far as don't talk about him a lot. Don't, you know what I mean? Like, since it is her ex-boyfriend, I wouldn't really confide in her about anything necessarily, or talk about.
If I was her friend too, I mean, like, the underlying note in this is like, there's definitely like, why is he talking to you?
Right.
Like,
why is he talking to you more than her?
Yeah. And I think that if I were you, I would evaluate your feelings. Like, regardless of if he has feelings for you, evaluate yours. My high school boyfriend and I started dating in not totally like a similar way, but we were just like good friends because my friend was dating his friend, and we just became really good friends. And I was like helping him ask another girl out to prom and all this stuff. And like, we were texting all the time. We would talk about the girls that he was into. And I didn't realize until one of my friends drunkenly called him and was like, by the way, Megan's in love with you. And I was like, I am? And I had no idea. And I was like, she called me. She's like, yeah, you are. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am. And I think like saying that he's not a big texter with her,
it's a red flag.
It is like, it's something like if my boyfriend and like my friends get along super well, but if like Mott's was like texting Sasha more than me, I'd be like, the hell?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I think ultimately there might even be some weird feelings that she's had there since the beginning.
Right.
Because like, I don't know, like I text like, like I mentioned Leo, but like Leo's like one of my very, very, very best friends. And I text him all the time, and I'm friends with his girlfriend, Maddie, too, but I knew Leo first. So there isn't that weird, hey, I'm friends with your girlfriend, and now I'm kind of just like talking to your boyfriend all the time.
Right.
I just think that's something that I would evaluate your feelings in the situation, because maybe you guys just ended up being like really great friends. But it does to me like pose kind of like maybe there's something more to this.
Yeah.
And then, it's also college. So you just gotta you gotta do what you feel is right. You don't necessarily like, be a good person and totally be respectful of everybody in the situation. And like Sasha said, like, don't talk about it with her, but also figure out how you feel instead of just kind of being a sounding board for him to talk about girls, and then just to be like her supportive friend in that. Like, you got to have your own. Right now it just sounds like you were a part of their love story. And like,
exactly.
Yeah. Like, what about you? Like, do you figure out what you really want out of this too, instead of just being there for everybody else? Okay, on to the next one.
Hi, Megan, and possibly guest. So I am a longtime listener, first-time caller. Leaving this voicemail makes me so nervous because this is the first time I'm actually saying this out loud. I'm 27 years old. I've been happily married for about 5 years. I never thought I would have gotten married so young. I'm 22, but I've always thought I was pretty mature for my age. Plus, I just happened to find my person really young in life. However, I am currently in a situation. Recently, I have been getting pretty close to one of my male coworkers, and I'm pretty sure I am crushing hard. This is really unlike me, and I've literally never felt like this, and it's really freaking me out, obviously. I really do love my husband, and in no way am I saying that I want to leave him for this coworker. However, I just can't stop thinking about him, and I can't help but have feelings for him. This guy is a lot older than me, and he's really charming. He's a really good person. He's also married. However, he has insinuated that there are some problems there. So we do a lot of flirting back and forth.
And regarding his marriage, I haven't asked him about it because I just don't think that's appropriate. And we have not crossed any lines, nor do I think I would. But the fact is that I kind of want to, and that's not okay. So my question is, what would you do if you had a crush, knowing full well that you're in a committed AF relationship?
I'm like smiling to Mal off camera because I've been in this situation before, but I've been the other person in the situation. So I'm going to be super fucking honest. And I apologize in advance. Like, this is definitely coming from like a personal, me have been the girlfriend of, I'm your husband in this situation. Like, I've been this person before. So I'm coming from it from that perspective. You already have crossed a line by having a crush on somebody. There's a difference between having like an innocent crush on somebody and then having like, there's a thing, it makes micro cheating, emotional cheating. And that's what's currently happening. And I think a lot of people who have been in that situation, I am like a very, 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 very decisive person. So immediately if I ever had feelings for somebody else, I'd be like gone, done. But sometimes if you're in a very committed relationship and you love somebody, it can kind of creep up on you like a crush. And it's ultimately, I think, yeah, if you want to, so like you saying that you haven't crossed a line, you already have because emotional cheating is a thing. And I personally think it's more hurtful than physically cheating because it's something that's harder to, it's such a gray area, and it's harder as the person who's been partaking in this, it's harder to hold yourself accountable to it because it feels very innocent because it's just talking and there's no expectation and you have no intention of doing anything. But ultimately, like you're doing something that would make your partner uncomfortable. My thought process is like, I would never talk to or treat somebody unless being paid. And then I would like in a movie and my boyfriend would know. I never would treat anybody in a way that I would feel uncomfortable if my boyfriend was standing right next to me. And like, that's just how I believe it should be. I think you need to evaluate, I think you need to talk to your husband. And I think being on, as much as it sucks, I would have loved to have heard it. I would have loved to have not found out on my own. I would have loved to have like the person I was dating to have like sat me down and been like, hey, I want to be honest with you. I love you and I really care about you, but I've developed a crush on this person and it's made me question things. And I think ultimately there, you guys can discuss what you want to do, whether that's like going to therapy or whether that's like divorcing and not being together anymore.
I think this is a really hard situation, obviously. I think I agree, 100% agree with you. Something to think about, and yes, it is a generalization, but for the most part, when you were talking about emotional versus physical, you're very right about that. And to keep in mind that women generally are more emotional than they are physical. So this guy at work, no wonder he's making himself conveniently available and talking about his marriage problems. Most likely he's in it for the physical side of it. At least I'm almost 100% positive that's the way he's thinking about it. And you are thinking about it already from the beginning emotionally, which is where the danger comes into play. Because I'm sure he's physically attractive. It sounds like you are attracted to him physically, but you are getting a high off of his characteristics and personality, but you're getting a high off of it from his personality first. So you're emotionally invested in this before anything else, which is definitely something that is a huge red flag. I think since you're married, it does make things even more complicated. And I have a lot of friends who have gotten married young, have gotten divorced, or have been together now for years. I've most of my friends, I would say, that I'm really close to are married. And so I've seen this happen a lot. And being someone who is getting married young and who has met my partner young and has been together with him for a very long time, I think something to remember is this is always something that can be temporary. So evaluating your feelings is very important. I would say definitely talk to your spouse about this, but just know that you may have a crush on this person, but I can almost guarantee you that that's something that will not last. So know that if you break up your marriage, this little thing that's happening with your coworker, I don't think will last either. So know the impact of your feelings, because if you do end your marriage, I don't think as a female I could personally be in a relationship with the person that I was crushing on, because I would 100% consistently be worried about him doing the exact same thing he just did to his
how
wife.
you lose them.
It really is.
Yeah.
So know, like, once you talk to your spouse about this, if you guys decide to work it out, that's amazing, and that could make you guys stronger.
Mm-hmm.
But if you guys do separate, I highly doubt that it's going to work out with your coworker. Yeah. So know that you are not leaving your husband for this person. You're leaving it. You're leaving it for an idea, and you're leaving it because it'll make you happier in the end. If that's not the case, then there's a lot of other issues internally that you need to figure out, and you and your spouse need to figure out. And it could be as simple as you're bored. It could be as simple as you've lost a little bit of chemistry with your partner, and it could be as simple as trying to find it with him instead of somebody else.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it is very easy to do that whole, like, my gym husband, my work husband, my whatever, but it's something that I feel like a policy like you had touched on is that you should never do anything towards somebody else that you wouldn't be comfortable with your spouse being in the room with.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be anything to hide. And if you feel like you're hiding something, that's an immediate red flag. So if this is, you said this is the first time you've really said this out loud, and you said you've been really thinking about it a lot, just admitting it out loud is something that it's just, you know that this is something that you've been hiding, and then there's a reason that you feel bad about it.
Yeah. There's something to hide.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. She said, she didn't just say she has a crush on him. She said she has feelings for him.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if you want to stay in your marriage, if that's what you want, if you don't want to cheat on your spouse, remove yourself from the situation.
Yeah.
You're
That's
working together.
That's something that I've definitely, I don't know, like, there's people that I've, like, found physically attractive
That's a natural thing.
Yeah, but I would never let myself get close to that person because of that. Like, if I ever took, like, let's say, like, I ever took, like, a workout class or, like, something like that where I thought, like, the instructor was super hot and he was, like, talking to me or flirting with me, I'd be like, cool, never taking this class again. Like, I've been in meetings with people who are like, oh, we want to work on this project. I'm like, I'm really attracted to you and you're flirting with me. And not that I don't trust myself, but, like, I don't want to
in that position.
No, and I don't want to put my partner in that position. And ultimately, I think the biggest betrayal in all of this stuff that I felt when I went through this wasn't the crush, it was the lying to. Right. And it's like when someone's hiding something like that from you, there's a level of continued disrespect and, like, a level just continuing of that, of being like, I don't
naturally
respect you enough to
amplifies
tell
the
you.
situation.
Yeah, because it's something where, like, this started off small, but you didn't tell me and you hid it from me. And now it's spiraled into this, like, massive thing where it's been, like, cover up, lie over cover up over all of that stuff. And, like, withholding information is still lying. And I think ultimately, like, you might feel guilty for having it go on this far. But exactly like Sasha's saying, it's like, if you have massive, immense feelings for this guy, first of all, he's talking to you about his, like, marriage in shambles because, like, he's giving you an in. He's giving you,
and she actually said that.
Yeah,
so she's
and so,
she
like,
knows.
you're being given that, and so ultimately, if this crush represents you questioning your marriage, and then reevaluate it like this, but if this guy makes you question your marriage, I think you need to really focus on your husband, because, like we're saying, like, the idea of having a crush and having feelings for somebody besides your husband, if it's about that and that freaks you out, or if it's this specific guy, you need to decipher between that. Like, is this are you being like, shit, this is actually my dream man, this is who I should have been with? And if that's the case, I think you and him would probably have had a different relationship up until this point. Like, I think,
and actually it probably would have been more of a friendship without flirting, because I feel like
completely
that's kind of how that develops first.
Yeah.
The other thing is just that I think maybe you should think about what this person, what your coworker has that your husband doesn't. So what you're attracted to more compared to your husband. So you were saying that he was older, that he's really funny, that he's so the things that you're really attracted to, is it something that you feel like you are lacking in your partner? And if that's the case, and that's also something to mention if you have this conversation with your spouse, to be like, listen, I feel like I have a lot of fun with this person and I feel like we don't have fun anymore. Let's work on that.
Yeah.
And so, or if you don't feel like your spouse is mature enough, or you feel like he's slacking off in a certain way, then it needs to be addressed. Otherwise it will never get better. And it's a way to grow with your partner. Like everybody gets comfortable. Everybody, loses the spark sometimes. Like it's a marriage is something to work on for the rest of your life. And if you're not willing to work with that person for the rest of your life, then you do need to change. And it could be this guy, it could be any other guy. Like it's a life decision. So it's an important one. And I think it's a necessary conversation.
Yeah.
Otherwise this will continue to happen and you're going to be unhappy and your spouse isn't going to know why, but he's going to be really unhappy too. So it doesn't make for a happy life. Especially, please don't do it before you have kids. I don't know if you have kids, but
that's what I.
Yeah.
And I just be honest.
Babies don't fix anything.
Nothing. Literally nothing. We've said this before. We're like, get a dog if you need something new in your life. But yeah, I would say be honest with him as soon as possible. I think a lot of people fear. I'm a very honest person, and I really respect when people are honest with me, even if it like totally hurts me in the moment. Ultimately, withholding this from him, it's only getting worse the more it happens. And also withholding it from him doesn't guarantee that everything's going to be fine.
Right.
Because ultimately, the more that you lie to him, you're creating this invisible barrier and you're creating that. And it makes it easier to lie about other stuff and withhold information about these other things. And so I would definitely talk to your husband before you talk to the other guy about it. I wouldn't really he's not really a factor in it, I would say really just focus on, does this make you question? I don't know. It's like also like, do you want to give up what you have for like what Sasha's saying with like, what traits does this person have that your husband's lacking? Also like what we were saying, it's like, is it just because this is somebody, like I think about me now, I'm like the amount of times that I never wear makeup around the house anymore. Like I'm constantly in a face mask and sweatpants. Like I'm not trying as much anymore. And like neither is Mott's. But it's like, if you're in a relationship, when you are flirting with someone's new, you're like, oh wow, this person, I don't have to ask this person to take the garbage out. I don't resent this person for not going grocery shopping. I don't like, there's still an air of mystery there and like a sense of attraction because you don't know everything. Yeah. But there's also something that you were attracted to your partner in the beginning, like you had that phase. And so like that phase doesn't represent like, oh, my partner and like our relationship sucks because I don't have like these same sort of feelings. I don't know of any relationship that constantly feels like the first 3 months of dating, which would be terrible because that's like high anxiety of like, I'm wearing mascara to sleep, like all of that stuff. But like ultimately like that comfortability and feeling like someone can see you at your worst. Sure, it feels exciting that you want to get dressed up for somebody and you want somebody to think you're attractive and stuff.
The other thing is with this sort of situation, I think it's probably the excitement of it too, because I'm sure you guys are at work being sneaky about it. And it's something that's like, but you're showing your best colors. And at the end of the day, if you were to be with him, that goes away. That will eventually fade and it's not as exciting anymore. And you are going to be left with the fact that like both of you, whether it was the right decision or not, now have had broken marriages and that's fine if he is your soulmate. And but there's certain qualities that he has that aren't something that you should really be looking for in a relationship.
Yeah, like being comfortable flirting with you when you're married.
At work too, which is, by the way, so something that everybody does. Everybody goes to work. And so his next job, your next job, like you're going to be worried about, so is he just going to find another coworker that he's attracted to? It'll always be in your mind.
Ugh. Okay, sorry we really went on this one. I warned you.
Caller number 3.
Warned you. And I'm sorry, but I feel like you gotta hear this, especially if you haven't really said it out loud to anybody else. I'm a bitch. I warned ya. Okay. Should we go on to the next call?
Let's take a break.
Okay, let's take a break. Mel's like, I'm fucking done. This episode of Don't Blame Me is brought to you by Casper. Casper is a sleep brand that continues to revolutionize its line of products to create an exceptionally comfortable sleep experience one night at a time. Casper's mattresses are designed by humans for humans. The original Casper mattress combines multiple supportive memory foams for a quality sleep service with just the right sink and just the right bounce. Casper's breathable design helps you sleep cool and regulate your body temperature throughout the night. And guess what, guys? They are not just a mattress company. Oh, no, they're not. Casper offers a wide array of products to ensure an overall better all sleep experience. Casper's mattresses are made in the US of A. And guess what, guys? Buying the Casper mattress, is it hard? No, it's easy. You order it online, it's delivered to your door in a compact box, and there's free shipping and free returns to the US and our other favorite country, actually probably more than the US, Canada. They offer a risk-free 100-day trial, and considering we spend a third of our lives on a mattress, probably half if you're me, it's so important to truly sleep on a mattress before committing. That's why Casper gives you 100 nights to try it out. I am a huge fan of Casper mattresses. Personally, we've got one in the guest room, and I actually was just in New York recently staying at my friend Kyle's house, and my gosh, I complimented his mattress. Like, this is so comfortable. He's like, guess where I got this? I was like, where? He said, Casper. I honestly don't think he used my code because he probably doesn't listen to this podcast. But guys, don't be stupid like Kyle. Get a comfortable mattress and save some money off of it. So get $50 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/blame and using promo code BLAME at checkout. That's $50 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/blame and using promo code BLAME at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Okay, guys, we are back and we are hopping into more calls. Hop, hop, hop.
Hi, Megan. I'm in my mid-20s, and I'm calling because I was recently fired from my job, and I feel like the circumstances around that situation were very unfair, and I'd like to get your perspective on it. So basically, I started teaching elementary school in August of last year. This is my first year teaching. Everything was going really great until we were let out for Christmas break. I loved my class, had great coworkers. I was just loving everything. On New Year's Eve, I went out to a bar with some of my friends, and we had some drinks. Again, I'm in my mid-20s, so this is completely legal. We had a designated driver, so I wasn't doing anything wrong. When we came back to work after the break, my boss told me that a parent filed a complaint against me because she saw me out at the bar on New Year's Eve, drunk and partying, which I wasn't drunk. I was tipsy, yes, but not drunk. Anyway, she decided that because of this, I was setting a bad example for her son and that she no longer wanted him in my class. I live in a small community, so she talked to other parents about what she saw, and rumors were started, and eventually, a ton of my students' parents were calling my boss, asking for their kids to be removed from my class. And my boss said, she said, and this is a direct quote, that my actions were selfish and unnecessary and have caused the school a great deal of inconvenience. So I tried to state my side of the story. She immediately brushed me off and said that they had to let me go because as teachers, we have to be held to a higher standard than other members of society. This went down in January. It's now March, and I've not been able to find another job. I've applied for every open teaching position that's been advertised, and nothing. I'm asking for advice because I really don't know what to do anymore. There's also so much more to this story that I can't even share because of the time limit. But I don't know what to do because I was just starting out in my career, and now I've essentially been completely discredited, and I don't know where to go from here.
That is so shitty.
That's so fucking shitty.
First of all, if they're supposed to be held to a higher level of everyone
Just
else
like
in
being in
society, then they should get paid better. Mm-hmm. That's one thing. But also it's such a double standard, and the fact that she's teaching kids in elementary school, like that's something that that type of behavior wouldn't have even been seen by them.
Well, and also the mom was at the bar too. Is she setting a bad example of being a mom?
Where are your kids on New Year's Eve? Why aren't you celebrating with your kids? Like that's such a
somebody else who has your kids for like 6 hours a day for 5 days a week has to set a better example than you which I'm saying, like, I don't think either of you are setting a bad example by being at a bar and drinking above legal age, but you're holding her to a higher standard as your kid's teacher than you are holding yourself as the kid's mom.
Yeah. It's first of all, it's just as simple as projection. There's probably something that she doesn't like about you that
maybe you're hot and her husband checked you out.
Right. It could be so simple. It could also be I guarantee you she's one of those stay-at-home moms, which is totally fine. Like that's awesome, but that's not my point. The point is she's probably a stay-at-home mom that is the girl that goes around and freaking reports people like to the HOA. Like those are the type of people that don't have anything else better to do. And I can understand that your kid should definitely be your first priority. It means a lot to you, but that is something that is so unrelated to your kids.
Not like you're a drug and alcohol counselor for your child who went to juvie and you're drinking.
The other thing is, if there were other signs and there would be more complaints along the way about something that actually was relative to his or hers, what do you call it? Like learning experience. Like if there were certain things that weren't being checked, or kids weren't understanding their school, like there was homework that wasn't being done well, whatever the reason, that's different. But if that is her only complaint to you, is that you were drinking at a bar and acting, even if she got shit-faced and passed out on the floor, like
it's unrelated to your child's education.
There should have been a bigger, I would say, investigation. Even if an investigation got opened up, like there should have been way more of a conversation between the school and her, and also the school and you. Also, it's really shitty that she has the power over a lot of people.
Very big little lies.
That's immediately what I thought of.
And I think ultimately, like, what I would do is, like, I don't know how like HR works for schools.
I was gonna say.
But like this is definitely something like you have I was listening to a different podcast. Won't promote it. Just kidding, it's on a fair, so she doesn't need any help promoting it. But they had somebody who like called in and was referencing another they have like a corrections kind of corner, which a lot of podcasts do. Where they had advised somebody not to go to HR when they were getting like bullied in the workplace. And this woman had called in who worked in an HR department to like kind of give a follow-up. And she had mentioned something which I hadn't really heard of, aside from like, like TV shows and stuff, which is wrongful termination lawsuits. Because it is affecting you finding a new job. I think ultimately it is worth it to go through like the legal process of wrongful termination. Because ultimately, like, yes, it's costly and it's something, but if it is genuinely, which it sounds like it is, like that is the reason why, because I'm sure it's references and stuff, because this is your first teaching position, you don't have any other references. This is the reason why that you are not able to get a job in the same field. I think you should, because it sounds like you have a very serious case. And if you talk to, an employment lawyer? A job lawyer.
I think
labor,
so. Labor.
They'll be able to tell you if you have a case against this and figure that out. And because I think, I wouldn't say like move.
I was going to say that really is, if you want to continue that job line, that's really your only other option.
Yeah.
Because she's in a small town. So.
Yeah. And I think, I think there's, just like we were talking about before, like there are definitely some people who get a massive power trip out of controlling, and there's a lot of people who have some free time, which again, like no shame on stay-at-home moms.
No,
it's like,
I hope I can be one to some degree, but
and like, it's a full-time job. It's a full, it's like
that's
a
what
job
I meant
and a
by
half.
that's not the point, but there are those types of people that like
you're super invested, and so it becomes like there is that same sort of like, I mean, like I also grew up in a place where we had a lot of like working moms, and then we also had a lot of like moms who used to work at Google and then were stay-at-home moms. So like these are like cutthroat business women who then would take those same tactics to like preschool. And so like there are certain things that I remember, like we had to have like, oh my gosh, there were like the whole thing of getting new vending machines at the school that like had like perishable foods that were healthy foods, and it cost the school so much money to do this because like people were just like adamant on this. So like there are people like that who make it their goal. And also I'm sure this woman is one of, like you were saying, is one of those women who, like, the reason why the principal and the school board was like, okay, we're gonna go along with this. I'm sure this is the 10,000th thing that she's done, and that she kind of, whether she's pulling the strings or ultimately they were like, we just need her to shut up about this one thing because she has not picked her battles and has all of this other stuff. Like, they're,
God forbid she has more children in that school.
Yes.
They're like, please just go to high school.
Like, please graduate. Please leave. So ultimately, like, they're appeasing her by fucking you over, and it's not kosher. Like, it's definitely like they're. And also, if you have an entertainment lawyer, no, that's what we have. What's it called?
Labor.
I don't know if that's exactly what it's called, but somebody that deals
like that.
with that.
Yes. Yeah. So if you get a lawyer, they're going to be able to also sit down with the school board and the principal and all that stuff to figure out if that is why you were terminated or if that was the reason that you were given. And they're going to have to offer a lot more explanation in a legal sense than they would to you, because to you it's just courtesy. They don't have to say anything to you. But once you bring legal in,
especially since you're younger too, they're probably counting on the fact that you don't know those certain things.
And a woman,
yeah. And it's probably just like whatever. It's easier to do this, but that will bite them in the ass. That's for sure.
Because I don't think it's legal at all. And it sucks. And I'm so sorry, because I think it also can be a massive blow to your confidence in your job field. And it also, as you know, and like we said from the beginning, like, just make sure you remember that they're not correlated. Like, how great of a teacher you are is not correlated with the fact that, like, and even you say, I wasn't even drunk, I was tipsy. Who cares if you were drunk? Like you said, who cares if you're passed out on the floor? Like, it's not relevant.
It didn't affect your work.
No.
Right. And also, everybody's on holiday. It wasn't like you were showing up to school the next day. Like, you were passed out on a Sunday, and you were like getting up early on a Monday to teach their kids. Like, it really is.
And no one yells at finance bros for, like, doing a fuck ton of coke to stay up and, like, do the stock market and shit. Yeah. Like,
if you showed up to school with, like, an IV for, hydration, and then maybe I could see
difference. But I mean, we all watch.
That's not your problem.
Everyone drinks wine or watches reality TV or does things that, like, make them human. You don't have to be like a superhuman teacher on your off time. Like, it makes you a better teacher to actually have a personal life and do all that stuff. And then let us know what happens. I'm very curious.
Please call back.
Please do.
I'll be listening.
Yeah, she will. Okay, on to the next call.
Hey, Megan. 17 years old, turning 18 in a month. And I just wanted some advice. Me and my boyfriend, we've been intimate because I've known him for about almost 2 years, and I trust him. And he's 19, so I feel like, he might fuck up, but, like, let's hope not, you know? And when we do stuff, he always goes down on me. You know, like that shit. But I haven't had the balls to do it back to him, just because I find it disgusting. That's like, I had one bad experience going down on a guy, and it just didn't turn out right, you know? So I wanted to know your advice on, like, helping me get through it, because I feel kind of bad. Like, I feel kind of selfish.
Well, I don't think he would mind if you asked him to teach you.
Yeah. Because I think honestly, I don't, when it comes to like women who are attracted to men, or guys who are attracted to men or whatever, I find the only way you would, I mean, like, it's not like, it's not like going to Disneyland. Like, it's not like a fun activity for you necessarily. The only time that it's fun is when you know you're good at it, and that makes it fun. But ultimately, like, I think there's a fear there of being bad at it, which then makes you dislike it. And ultimately, like, it isn't the same way that, like, guys can say that they, like, love going down on girls and stuff, but they don't love the physical act of going down on a girl. They love the response. Yeah. And, like, they love, like, making you feel great. And so ultimately, like, that, if you get good at it, he's going to feel great, and it's going to make you feel great in return. So it's not like, that's why you do stuff like that. Like, it's not like it's a mutually beneficial thing, or a mutually pleasurable thing, because it's a turn on to like make somebody else, like it makes you feel fucking hot. You're like, God, I'm the fucking best. Go me. Me every time I give head. I'm like, I'm great. I am.
High five me.
Yeah, literally. Woo! But like ultimately, like they're definitely like I remember like the first time I ever gave head, which was like, I'm sure like a terrible experience for like him, because it was so awkward for me too, because like it's not like, I don't know, it's like not like riding a bike. You don't have instincts that kick in. You're like, do you know what I mean? Like it's not like you automatically know what to do. And I think there's this idea which I've always struggled with. There's something super sexy about a woman or a man, because I'm attracted to it in men, someone who's really, really confident. And I think it's really hard. Like I would have definitely like I'm never 100% confident in all aspects of my life at all the time. And it's really hard because you want to perceive that image because you know it's attractive, and you know that that's something that guys are like, I just love a girl who's really confident and knows she's sexy. And you're like, but fuck, I don't really know that I'm sexy. So I have to pretend that I know that I'm sexy. Right. And then when it comes down to like doing something like giving a blowjob or giving head or whatever, that's something where you can't really fake. You can fake feeling sexy in other ways, but that's something that like you're really out of your element, and it's not a team sport.
I think they're.
I mean, it can be.
It can be.
Yeah, it can be.
I think that there is a way to accomplish, basically what you're saying, and by asking him how, there's a way of you being confident in that and wanting to know, and him knowing that you want to know. Yeah. How to make him feel good, and I think if you're confident in asking and I don't think he will mind showing you, and there's a intimacy to that as well.
And he ultimately, you all want to give good head. He wants you to give him great head. He doesn't want you to be a mind reader at all. And there's, like you're saying, there's something sexy about like if you like can like confidently and sexily like ask him and like say like, oh, like how do you like this, blah blah blah, like what, like that kind of thing. Yeah. He's not going to be like, no, I really want you to guess. It's like, let's like this. Yeah. It's like if he was going to propose to you and you know exactly what engagement ring you want, and then you know exactly what you want, and he asks you what you want, and you go, no, I want you to guess. Like, no, that's not necessarily how it would work in the real world. There's not being confident is totally sexy, and giving great head, super, super sexy. But ultimately it's more sexy to get good head. And even if that requires like asking and talking about it. And you're just like cutting corners to get to like what because although everyone's different, like
everybody likes something different.
Everybody and every girl likes something different and all that stuff. So ultimately, like like the same blowjob you give on one guy isn't going to be like the greatest. Like the first blowjob you give to the guy, even if you're great, which I've self-identified as I'm great. I know. I mean, there's no shame in that.
Mods.
Yeah, babe. Every time I talk with this, Leo's like, can you please stop? Like, I hate this image. All of my guy friends are like, you need to fucking not. But like the same, like, I don't know, like you don't give the same head to the same guys because like, everyone's different in that. It's like the same, like
every dick's different.
Every dick is different, and every time you have sex with somebody, it's different. And because it's not even necessarily like you might be the same person, but you enjoy different things with different people. And so I think, I think you just like you can be sexy about it and talk to him about it. You don't have to feel insecure and weird. And also, as long as there's not teeth, like any head is better than no head. Like it's a learning curve that he's going to be more than happy to really do. There's something like I definitely went from being a girl who's like very insecure about doing that and like feeling really self-conscious to now I'm like party trick. Like I own this. Like you get to that point in a relationship or you're like dating someone new or whatever. And that's what I've got on lock. Like I'm not great doing like a lot of other stuff, like meeting your friends, super socially awkward, but I can give a great blowjob. I know my strengths, but I wasn't like that before.
Strong jaw,
which is funny. I also have TMJ, which I'm like, I've overcome a lot of obstacles. This is my Oscar acceptance speech. I wouldn't worry. You'll get good. Mm-hmm. Do we have one more? Is that it?
One more.
Oh my God, one more. Okay.
I just started listening to your show, and my name's I just turned 18, and I had a question about, fat vaginas. I know that sounds weird, but like, I've been told I have a pretty fat vagina, and I'm really self-conscious about it. Like, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. Just can you help me out with what to think?
What's a fat vagina? And also, who fucking told you had a fat vagina?
Yeah.
Wait, FAT or PHAT?
I was going to say, which kind?
Vaginas look different, and she probably just has puffier.
Right. I was going to say,
lips.
there's such a thing as a puffy vagina.
Yeah.
But like, who gives a shit? It's
Exactly.
a functioning vagina.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna push a child out of there eventually if you choose to.
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cushion for landing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hell yes.
Well, that
And also, the idea that like, who said that to you? Because should we talk about dick size?
Right. I was going to say.
Have you seen some tiny fucking penises? I have. Like, there's nothing like. There's like also
Just there's no reason for. Okay, the thing is, just like there's different dick sizes and preference. A lot of men have different preferences in vaginas.
Yeah.
You will be somebody's dream vagina. But seriously though, everybody has a different thing that they're into, and just because that one guy is.
But also, like, I'm also I'm like very curious who said this, because if you're naked and you're like getting some, the last thing you're going to worry about is like someone's. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, if you're already at that point, it's like we talk about like when people are like insecure or whatever, and you're like, oh, I'm insecure about like my boobs or blah blah blah, whatever. I'm like, when like push comes to shove and like your top is off, there's still tits.
Yeah.
Like nobody's gonna walk away from that situation because like ultimately like it's not. I don't know. It's not a factor that affects anything, and also it's an opinion. It's not necessarily a fact at all. And that also just sounds like, if it's a guy who told you that, it sounds like a guy who has probably a very small penis and is very insecure and probably has never seen a vagina aside from porn. And like,
there's a lot of fat vaginas in porn.
Is there? Oh, I don't know what I was going to Google a fat vagina.
Google it.
Should I?
Yeah, you should.
But also, who said, like, fucking cares? One of my boobs is like significantly, I was gonna say bigger than the other, but one's just like smaller.
It's just it's just annoying that he would even say something like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's just,
what's there to gain from that situation other than to like make you feel insecure about something that you should not feel.
I want to
insecure.
know more information. Like, what happened? Like, was there like, he must have felt uncomfortable about something to even comment something like that. Like, he was either really insecure about his junk and size, or it was like a diss because you wouldn't do something. Right. Yeah.
So there's this article that I'm pulled up right now that's about what guys think of 8 different vaginas, the top 8 vaginas, which I didn't even know there were 8. There's a bony vagina.
No cushion.
Oh, is that me? Oh, that sounds, it's like a narrow. Oh, it's narrow and bony, which also is saying like
snug fit,
great for sex, but also like it's bony. Like it's not like there's not like some cushion. And then there's a full lipped vagina. And oh my God, look at this. They're just so darn kissable. That's one of the quotes from here. And then this one says shaved. There's an expert vagina, and it's like a wider, large vagina. And oh my God. And look at this. Guys like to pretend that it's an easy entry, but in reality, they're worried their equipment isn't big enough to please you. Look at that. Look at that. And then that's a vagina with a lot of hair. The vertical vagina. No, virginal.
I was going to say vertical.
I was like, that sounds like a niche thing. The peekaboo vagina. That's very, look, you've got a little clit that is out just to give a little tease. Look at that. Oh, and it says girls like that get bigger orgasms. And there's no such thing as a perfect vagina. See?
Send me that article and we'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, guys, because that's like I mean, there's even me as a girl right now was like I'm ignorant to the fact that like I only intimately I just for a second I have so many fucking mails in my phone and I just went, oh God, who did I send that to? It's you. Whew, okay. That's
so funny.
Can you imagine? I would so do that.
That would have been so funny.
Like, I only intimately know my own vagina, but that doesn't make it better than anybody else, better or worse than anybody else's. And I
wouldn't worry about it, honestly. In consensus to that, like
it's not a deal breaker.
It's not, and there's going to be someone like that list who is going to enjoy that.
Everything, every vagina offers something that the other doesn't. And there's like different pros for all of them. And like, sure, we can all find pros and cons of our own body and things that we wish we had, but like there's always going to be a trade-off. Like you don't like this part of you, but this part of you means that this great thing happens, and if you want this other thing, there's other pitfalls that come with that.
Right.
So ultimately I wouldn't worry about it. And also I don't know
Embrace your puffy vagina.
embrace your fucking puffy vagina. Like, yeah, like
I don't know what mine categorizes.
dude, me neither now. Like I'm wondering.
Everybody,
like,
get a mirror.
Get a
then
mirror.
Go look it up.
But
Margaret Cho has a song called "Fat Vagina,"
oh,
and it is in celebration of people with fat vaginas. So listen to that.
yeah,
Pump
I
you
might
up.
even have a fat vagina and I didn't know. Ultimately, the only reason why you're calling in about this is because someone said it. It's not like an insecurity that you had before. And ultimately, like I think
being a little shit.
Yeah, like insecurities that are brought on by comments of other people, those just need to be irrelevant because we already have enough like negative thoughts of ourselves that we have like on our own time. Anything else that anyone wants to throw onto that, like it's just fucking irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't think about this before,
It has to be.
don't worry.
I don't know a guy that would do that unless they were super insecure about something else, or like they had.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that. They should be happy to see a vagina no matter what.
Yeah, it's like a guy, if you're not into hooking up with him and then goes around, and I've had like, I didn't hook up with this one guy and he like went around and told everyone that he's like, oh yeah, like she wanted to hook up with me and like I turned her down. Like she's such a sloppy girl. And I was like, but that's, we didn't hook up and I wasn't into you, but your ego gets so bruised that people turn around and say things just to like hurt other people. And it just sounds like a fucking teenage boy.
It really does.
Unless he was saying it as a compliment.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, damn girl, you got a fat vagina. I want to fuck that fat vagina. Yeah.
So maybe you misheard it. Maybe
Maybe it was a
actually something
PHAT.
that was-
Is that still
yeah.
a thing? When you say fat in the
No.
Okay, guys. Do we have a producer's corner? Oh my God, we have a producer's corner. Producer's corner is where Mel picks either a callback question, like somebody who has some feedback, and caller update, or maybe just a memorable question from the voicemail that we listened to.
Yeah. So this one is a callback. So this is from episode 6.
Okay. So the original call is a girl, Meghan. Sup. We have the same name. She made that joke in the call too. And she was calling because her boyfriend was going away to the Marine Corps, and she was not only very sad about it, she just had like a very bad feeling about him going, and feeling like something like bad was going to happen to him, or something was going to go wrong and all of that stuff. And she was feeling like very lonely and super upset about it. And the advice that we gave in the podcast was, first I said to get a puppy, which I think I say all the time to people. When
Yeah,
people are like,
she actually had one on hold, so she was getting.
oh,
it
she was
anyway.
getting a puppy.
Yeah.
Put a deposit
Oh my
down.
God. Oh my God. I hope in the call she said she got a puppy. Maybe she named it Meghan. We can all be named Meghan. And I said that I agreed that was a good idea. And we like talked about like hobbies and stuff. And then about how having a bad feeling about it, or having a feeling that something was going to go wrong, was probably just her sadness manifesting itself with a purpose. Because sometimes it's hard to, when you feel really sad, you kind of feel like you're being a baby, and then ultimately you kind of want you to be sad for a reason. It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna miss you. It's like, oh, I'm making this, like, I'm worried something bad might happen and all that stuff. And so we told her to like find some hobbies and spend time with friends and really pursue having a very active life, so she's not just sitting at home and being upset, because that's, I mean, definitely what would happen. And so she's gonna call back.
Cool.
And I already asked Mel, don't worry, he didn't die.
Yep. So there's the update.
That was, we fucked up. I mean, I was like, oh my God, it'd be so sad. I hope there's a puppy.
Hi, Megan. This is a callback. You had given me advice several months ago. I'd say it was like the beginning of your podcast first opening. I'm the one that had the boyfriend that enlisted in the Marine Corps and had the puppy on the way. And having a Siberian Husky has really kept me distracted. Your advice really helped to kind of just reach out to my friends more and everything. And he'll be home soon in July for a little while. You know, it's coming to an end, and we've actually come out on the other end of this a lot stronger, much more serious than we had expected. And he is planning on redoing his contract to go active. And my only roadblock with that is he wants me to come with him. I have my own life here. I have a job. I'm a vet tech assistant. And I have the dog to think about now, too. And in order for me to go along with him, I would have to marry him. Now that, you know, his contract wouldn't be up for replanning or whatever it's called. I'm not 100% sure, but that wouldn't happen until December of this year. And, we wouldn't hear about what's going to happen there. And, I don't want to end up going on base with him if he's going to end up being deployed. And then I'm kind of just stranded with, nothing and no friends, anything. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think. I know it's a long way out of the way if I should just take things as they come and think about it later, or if it's, something that's kind of stressing me out now, like what I should do about it. But thank you for all your advice from before, and thank you for your advice you're about to give me. Thank you. Bye.
Well, he's not dead, so that's really good.
Yeah, that's a win.
I have a lot of friends who have had good and bad scenarios with this kind of a thing. I think something to, sorry, I didn't even give you a chance.
No, I have no friends who've been through this, so take it away.
Something to consider is, like, what seems like you're already aware of is isolation, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to your relationship. It seems like you're a little hesitant about getting married, and I'm not sure if it's just because you're not sure if you're ready for marriage, or you're not sure if he's the right person,
Mm-hmm.
or if it really is just the isolation. I've had some really good friends who have done that, who have married a Marine and moved, and sometimes it's amazing and sometimes it's really hard. There are definitely hard moments in between. I have a lot of friends who have gotten married and have then, since then, their spouse has finished and everything's amazing, and it was a kind of a hard time in the beginning. And then when they're done, you start this beautiful life together. But that, I think, is what makes it really hard, is you don't always have that connection with the person. So you've survived this year, and you said you've, become stronger. It's a big life decision. And I think you need to think about whether or not, if he was here, if you would want to get married to him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where the first question is if this wasn't the only reason you were getting married, would this be the person for you? And if so, then, if you're thinking about a life together, it would be worth it if you think he's the one that you're meant to be with forever. Then it is worth working on and worth moving for and worth making that transition for. But if not, then it's something that maybe you should hold off on, or 3 years is a really long time, but people change. So it really comes down to the relationship that you built together, and whether you think that whether you have you can picture yourself with him,
Mm-hmm.
10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years down the line, because at that point it is worth it. But
can you I get that he's saying that he wants you to go with him and you've already spent this much amount of time apart, but can you try spending another year doing what you did, and then just, because I mean, my thing is, you went into this and you're we came out stronger than before and more serious, and that surprised me. It's just it's a lot immediately to go from wow, we survived this one thing and we got through all of this and we became stronger and we're way closer and way more serious, but that doesn't necessarily equate to marriage.
right.
And so I think exactly what you're saying. If he was here, would you marry him right now? And also you can, I mean, I honestly don't know what I would do if I was in this situation. If Mott's had to go away somewhere, and the only way we could be we would have to either be apart for 3 years or we'd have to get married. I would still have to think about it, because ultimately I see him that that's what we want. That's who I want. That's who I know I'm going to end up with and all that stuff. But ultimately it's not necessarily so much about the relationship with him. It's more about kind of me, where I'm not, it's you're the person I want to do that with, but I don't want to do that yet. It's I'm not there yet. And so ultimately, I think, really figure that out, if that's something that you want for you right now, even if he's that dream guy. And as much and as difficult as this year was and all that stuff, maybe, I don't know, it's just it seems
it's difficult. And the relocating thing is scary, regardless of regardless of whether you had to be married or not. But she said she was a veterinarian, I think, right? That's what she was saying.
Mm-hmm. She's a vet tech.
The good thing about that is that you will immediately find other people to connect with there. You're being taken away from everything that you know. But if that is the decision that you do make, it's not like you're going to be sitting there doing nothing and have no outlet. You can still operate and have a normal life on base.
There's a
head
lot of
off base.
support for people like that
There's
too.
a lot of support.
Like a lot of other like wives and girlfriends and,
a
women in
lot
that.
of them are young too.
Yeah, who have been going through that. There's a YouTuber I watched, which I'm pretty sure I recommended to you in the first call. It's Casey Holmes. And she just moved with where her boyfriend got stationed, or her husband now, where he got stationed. And there's there's a lot of support groups for women who are in a very similar situation. But I also understand, like for me, that yes, that is a total comforting thought, but it's not like you're giving up something.
Yeah,
like you're giving up things that you don't necessarily, other relationships people don't have to give up. Yeah. And I think that's kind of where it becomes difficult. Like there is more being asked of you in this relationship, both of you. There's more being asked of both of you in this relationship than any in a relationship that didn't, without these jobs. Like it's a factor that really affects your personal relationship. That's a business or a job thing.
Emotionally now, he's obviously got a really tough job to do, but speaking of emotions, for the most part, he almost has it easier because he's going away to do this very intense thing. Whereas it's always harder to be the one that's not doing as much or the one that's behind, the one that's waiting. It's much more of a difficult task than to be the one that's going somewhere and knows that someone's waiting for them. Because for him, it's a comforting thought to know that he has you and that you're going to be there and that you guys are solid, but for you, it's definitely more challenging. So it really is. It comes down to your relationship and kind of what your fears are. Kind of from the original call, you were talking about if your fears were irrational or if they were rational, and I think you kind of have to apply the same thing because basically break down like pros and cons and what are you afraid of and is it real, and then also is he really the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, because going into it, these first couple years are going to be really difficult.
It's figuring out what you can live with too. Like, can you live through these 3 years of being miserable if that means that you guys can come out on top? And are you willing to give that a chance? Or could you not survive those 3 years? And
and you might be super, super happy. There are, a lot of times you do, like you said, there's support groups and you really do connect with a lot of people going in this through the same thing, and you'll have your dog, and you get major discounts when you have when you're military wife.
It's true.
That just
Costco.
definitely doesn't. Please do not make that your reason for getting married. But there are. You say Costco?
Yeah, you get a good discount at Costco.
Yeah. Practically, there's a lot of good things that come with it. But yeah, I mean, it's just going to be. I think your biggest decision should come down to you and him, and whether that relationship is solid enough, regardless of if this was a component, and then work from there.
Yeah, they've also haven't had that much time together, physically together.
Right, because they were only dating for a year before that. That makes it really tough. And that the great point. I was thinking about that too, because that means that when you guys do spend time together and then afterwards, you are going to go through a lot of growing pains, because you may think that you know each other really well, and I feel like
it's distance, like The
Bachelor. Distance really, I think, almost makes people feel closer because it's intense.
And you don't want to fight when you have only a small amount of time together. You want to cherish that.
But when they do get home, or when you do reunite, they're just everyday things.
Living habits, like you don't shut the cabinets when you do, like things that you don't have to worry about.
Changing the toilet paper, which direction the toilet paper goes.
It is a talking point.
It is.
Like it's
There's those things that you don't really know how someone operates,
or things that they're so little when you have such. They really don't affect you when you have such little time with somebody, and then when you have like a boundless, endless amount of time with, not obviously because like no one has that, but when there isn't that
There's
pressure,
no endpoint,
those things that you didn't mind, you might start to mind, and that's also really natural and really normal. But then when you're put in a high stress situation, like that might really get to you and be frustrating. I would also say, my last piece of advice, if you don't know any people who've been through this situation specifically, if there's any women you can talk to, if you know them, totally. But also, Meghan has gotten very into Reddit. I mean, me, Meghan. Oh, your name's Meghan too. I've gotten very into like Reddit and subreddit recently of like things like if you don't know anybody who's been through this exact thing, like
there's definitely
find like chat rooms and read things about all of that stuff, because it's very hard to make a decision.
And you're definitely not alone in this.
No, not at all. I'm sure. I mean, tons and tons of people have gone through all of this, and they've definitely, I'm sure, would be like happy to share. their story, so you know what you're getting into. Because I think that would be the biggest fear for me is it's committing to something. I like to be mentally prepared for everything, and this is something that's kind of like you have to commit to something without really knowing what the whole situation is going to be like once you're there, and then how it's going to be the whole time that you're there. Yeah, I would just talk to some people. I'd stuff I say you call in and you talk to us. I'm like, talk to other people. It's my advice. Talk to people who are more qualified.
And also call back and update because I do want to
know.
know.
I want to know. And send pictures of your dog. Tweet pictures of your dog.
Yeah.
I want to see. I want a dog. Okay. Well, that's it for this episode.
Yeah. Can I make a note?
Yes.
Guys, when you guys call in and you have callbacks, please can you state what episode that the call was in, because we're getting very deep and it was a little hard to find.
Yeah,
that
episode
call.
6. Sasha recognized it before I did. I was like, I don't know what this one's from.
Her name is Meghan.
Her name is Meghan, just like me. Well, thank you so much, Sasha, for being on this. I'm so happy. And you guys can follow Sasha on social. What's your social media handles? Sasha Pieterse.
Pew, 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 pew. Sasha Pieterse 27 on Instagram.
Yes, it's 27.
And then Sasha with an extra A, Pieterse on Twitter, because somebody took my name.
Really? I bet they're holding it for a lot of money too.
I bet they are, and I'm not willing to pay.
No, hell no. Hell no. Fuck that. And if you guys want to check out our movie, you can get it on DVD and it's on digital. It's called The Honor List. And we can put it in the show notes. And if you also look on any social media, I'm pimping it out hard because I need a job. Post all of this. And yeah, if you guys liked this, if you like the podcast, I mean, yes, welcome back to season 2. Make sure to leave us a review in the Apple Podcast app. And then if you have calls for the next couple episodes or, this whole season, we're starting fresh. We're starting new. You can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. Damn, she's go me. And international callers, again, meghanpodcast@gmail.com. Send a audio message. And yeah, we would really very much love to hear from you. Cool. Oh, guys, yeah, and we're back weekly. Did we tell them that?
Nope.
Oh my God. Plot twist, surprise. This is now a weekly podcast. So for all of you who have been asking for it, which I'm not just saying that, people have actually asked, we are now weekly. So that means there's more people, more guests, more questions, more opportunities for you guys to get your questions answered. So yeah, I will be in your ears or in your car. That sounds creepy. Next week. And,
He'll be in my car.
I'll be in your car. Okay, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't Blame Me is a production by me, produced, directed, and edited by Melissa DeMons, camera operator Shireen Younes, post-production sound by Chris Henry, production assistant Julie Carley, and music by Giacomo Picasso and Ryan Hunter. I'll see you guys next week, and don't blame me if your life, completely fucks up before then. Oh.